Hey, what's up YouTube? I want to make a video discussing health, but before I make this video, I want to make a disclaimer that this is for educational and informative purposes only. I want to discuss this book here I have called Sick and Tired by Robert O. Young. The title is called Sick and Tired, and the subtitle is called Reclaim Your Inner Terrain. And basically what Dr. Young is saying that in this book is that all physiological disease stem from one source, which is the overacidification of the blood. And that the overacidification of the blood creates symptoms as what we call diseases. The symptoms are bacteria, parasites, microorganisms, which feed off the nutrients in our blood and rob us of the nutrients that we need to sustain a healthy life or a healthy cell, because the sickness starts at the cellular level. Sickness and death starts at the cellular level. And then Dr. Young has a cycle where you can reverse that sick process and get yourself back on track to a healthy life. The second book I want to discuss is Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About by Kevin Trudeau, a French-Canadian consumer medical advocate. How Kevin Trudeau got interested in alternative medicine is that he was sick himself at the age of 21. He was sick himself, and doctors told him there was nothing they can do for him, that he would probably be dead in about a year and a half. So he did some research, and he found out that there was this Indian in Mexico that was able to heal people through whatever method that the guy used. But Kevin says that the guy touched him and knew immediately what was wrong with him, and I guess he made a remedy to cure his disease. And Kevin was so amazed by that fact that he began his research in alternative medicine. And in his book, he talks about how the pharmaceutical companies, the Food and Drug Administration, and the food industry have an interest in keeping us sick to sustain their profits. But one of the most amazing discoveries, or the amazing guys, is Dr. Robert Beck. Dr. Robert Beck is an electromagnetic physicist who did research in weaponry for the United States government. And he became interested in the topic of health because a friend of his introduced him to an article that the friend had read in Science News magazine in March of 1990 on page 207, where they talk about two research scientists at Albert Einstein University in New York City. They were able to apply electric microcurrent into AIDS infected blood that was in a petri dish, and they was able to neutralize the HIV virus that was in that blood. And what the microcurrent does is it neutralizes the virus so that the virus cannot attach to the receptors on your cells, thereby enabling the virus inactive. So these guys, they applied for a patent to build a machine, I guess, so that they can use it to go inside the person's body, take the blood out, sort of like a dialysis machine, and electrify the blood, heat it up with microcurrents, and put the blood back in and neutralize the viruses or any other bacteria such as hepatitis, Epstein-Barr virus, or chronic fatigue virus. Neutralize it, and the person to have healthy blood. So Dr. Robert Beck was so amazed with that he applied for a copy of the patent that the two scientists at Albert Einstein College applied for. And he got the patent number, and he read, when you apply for a patent, you have to give the government the details as to how your machine works, how it's going to work in the schematic and so forth. So Dr. Robert Beck got the patent and figured out a better way to do it. Instead of going into the body to get the blood, he was able to build an electrical device where he can put an electrical prods on the arteries on your wrist. And the reason why he was going to put them on the artery of your wrist, because this is where your pulse is. The average person has about 8 pints of blood, and it takes 9 minutes for the entire volume of your blood to go past a given point in your body. So if he was to put the prods here, in the 9 minutes, your entire volume of your blood in your body can be electrified, and whatever virus or bacteria or parasites that is in your blood can be neutralized. And he built that electrical device. That's one step in his protocol, is to electrify the blood. The second step, he has a magnetic pulsar, because when you neutralize that blood, the viruses and parasites are going to try to run and hide. So they're going to try to run and hide in your lymph nodes. So Dr. Robert Beck built a magnetic pulsator device that would pulsate the viruses that tried to escape. The third step is the ionic colloidal silver water, which you would drink. You're actually going to be drinking water with microscopic silver electrified particles in them, because your cells are made of electricity, which has a positive and negative charge. When your body is acidified, it actually is dealkaline. In other words, your pH is lower. The average person has a pH of 7.0, but when you have an over-acidified body, your pH is low. People with cancer has a pH of about 4 or 3. A healthy person have a pH of about 7. A person who has a cold probably have a pH of about 6 or 5.5, or a low electrical charge. So what the silver colloidal water does is it electrifies your cells, and actually it's like a second immune system. You may find this ideal out of the ordinary, because it's probably the first time you're hearing of something like that. But before 1938, before the invention of penicillin and the establishment of the Food and Drug Administration, people used silver as a antibacterial. In fact, the early settlers used it, throw a silver dollar in the milk to keep it from spoiling. And how you would get the electric particles inside the silver colloidal water is you would attach this electrical device to silver rods, which would flake off the particles into the water. The fourth step is oxygenated water. Everything in the earth needs oxygen to survive, and the more oxygen you have, or any life form has, the healthier it is. In fact, there was a German scientist that won the Nobel Peace Prize for basically finding the cure for cancer, because he said, you oxygenate the blood, you have the cure for cancer, because cancer can't survive in an oxygenated environment. So I basically wanted to introduce these 3 books because I think there's the most important books on medicine that I know of that's informing us of how we can maintain our health and prevent diseases. So if anybody has any thing that they want to add to this, or have any other ideas, let's get the discussion started. Thank you for listening.